have to say that that whole moment was a Shechianu moment, seeing all these people in the sanctuary greeting each other and being together. My heart is full, so wonderful. To celebrate with Riley, to be together for difficult moments as well, and also to hear from our speaker this evening, Senator Laura Fine. We are so delighted to welcome her to Beth Emmet. Senator Fine received her BA in telecommunications from Indiana University, and she went to receive her MA in political science from Northeastern Illinois University. She is also the graduate of the Illinois Women's Institute for Leadership and the Baha'i Institute for Legislative Leadership Development. Her professional experience includes being an instructor at Northeastern Illinois University and the Northfield Township Clerk. As of November 2019, Fine is an Edgar Fellow, Henry Toll Fellow, a member of the Emerging Adult Justice Learning Community, the Kiwanis Club of Glenview Northbrook, the Rotary Club of Glenview Sunrise, and the Glenview League of Women Voters. And she is our state senator from the 9th District. Before she was state senator, she was a state representative. She serves now down in Springfield on the Behavioral and Mental Health Committees and Environment and Conservation, which makes her the perfect speaker to come and talk about the connection between mental health and the environment. But I'm not just introducing her as Senator Laura Fine, but as my friend Laura Fine. It's really an honor to be with you. Senator Fine and I met in yoga and Pilates class. Her husband, Michael Fine, who has also spoken here before, is my wonderful yoga instructor and inspiration par excellence, as is Senator Laura Fine. And when Laura became state senator, I had the privilege of going down to Springfield and being part of that ceremony and spending much time with Laura and her family. Every time I spend time with Laura and hear from her, I'm inspired by her intelligence, her passion, her deep kindness, and her care for all of us. And it's an honor and a pleasure to be able to hear her speak tonight at Beth Emmet. Senator Fine, welcome.
Did the best.
Not only is she the best, but she's flexible. Oh, good evening, everyone. I can't thank you enough for letting me join you tonight and share in this Earth Day celebration. As you've heard, I have had the honor and privilege of serving the Illinois General Assembly for nearly 10 years now. Through that time, I've observed Earth Day in many different ways with many different meanings. It has different meanings for every individual person. For some, it's a day to celebrate our wonderful environment, being outside in nature, hiking, walking along the lakefront. For others, Earth Day focuses its attention on a global crisis, climate change, and what is happening to our Earth. Extreme heat, weather, storms, drought, forest and wildfires, floods, and the erosion of our shoreline. This legislative session, I've had the fortune to serve as the Senate Chair of the Behavioral and Mental Health Committee and serve on the Environmental Committee. These two committees may appear on the surface to be unrelated, but really they go hand in hand. Here's the connection. What kind of impact does climate change have on our physical and mental health? Climate change has been identified as a cause of both physical and emotional stress and anxiety, especially in our younger generation. An international survey conducted last year found nearly 60% of young people felt very or extremely worried about climate change, and 65% thought governments were failing to make progress in addressing this crisis. According to the recently released UN Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report, the world is on track to exceed the 1.5 degrees Celsius temperature goal set in the Paris Climate Agreement. Unless countries like ours make drastic cuts in greenhouse gas emissions as soon as possible, the climate will continue to heat up and cause dangerous consequences for every living thing on our planet. Depending on where you live in the world, you are already seeing things like food and water scarcity, intense heat waves, more frequent 100-year storms, threatened coastlines due to sea level rise, increased polar cap melting, and potential ice shelf collapse in the Arctic and Antarctic, and increased droughts, flooding, and wildfires. If that's not concerning enough, there's always social media. It further fans the flames of our already heightened anxiety. Social media algorithms feed people who are already worried about the climate crisis a continued diet of stories that paint a very bleak picture. Stories that provide readers with apocalyptic and catastrophic predictions. It's no wonder we are seeing a rise in what is being labeled as eco-anxiety. There are also new terms being introduced by mental health professionals, terms like eco-guilt, eco-psychology, ecological grief, and biospheric concern. Substantial research has documented the harmful impacts of climate change on physical health, mental health, and social relations from exposure to extreme weather events that are associated with climate change. One scientific study on climate and anxiety on people ages 16 to 25 found that nearly 6 in 10 people were very or extremely worried about the climate breakdown. Nearly half of them reported climate distress or anxiety affecting their daily lives, and 3/4 agreed the future is frightening. Many therapists have reported seeing a significant increase in climate anxiety in their patients. However, they also found that this anxiety leads to action. It results in a desire to be part of the solution or become an environmental activist. Climate change is complex. It is an issue that will require substantial changes in global energy usage and in the transportation industry, the building industry, and agricultural sectors. This can seem overwhelming and make a person feel like his or her individual actions aren't significant enough to make a difference. But in reality, we can all be a part of the solution. Positive steps are being taken at all levels. Here are some of the collaborations taking place in state houses across the country and here in Illinois. In our General Assembly, we have something called the Green Caucus. On a regional level, we're part of the Great Lakes Legislative Caucus, a group of legislators from the Great Lakes states and several Canadian provinces working to protect our precious natural resource, Lake Michigan and the other Great Lakes. And at a national level, we have the National Caucus of Environmental Legislators. We are a group of legislators from across the country with the goal of finding more ways to collectively protect our environment. Let's look at the progress here in Illinois. Like I mentioned, in the Illinois General Assembly, we are working towards proactive solutions with our Green Legislative Caucus. The Green Caucus is made up of members of both the House and the Senate who share the same common goal of improving our climate and our environment. We work closely with the environmental organizations like the Sierra Club and the Illinois Environmental Council to take legislative action to improve and protect our state and our planet. Last year, our partnership yielded a big win for the environment and for our entire state. We passed, and the governor signed into law, something called CEJA, the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act. This law makes Illinois a national leader in comprehensive climate issues and equitable jobs. Here's a little bit about what that bill does. It protects the planet and public health. It puts our state on a path to 100% clean energy by 2050. It invests in equitable clean energy for all by developing programs in equity-focused communities. It creates jobs and training programs in solar and clean energy for soon-to-be-released incarcerated individuals. It invests in communities where coal plants will be shut down by transitioning these communities to clean energy hubs and providing job training. It invests in electric transportation, with nearly half of the benefits going to environmental justice and low-income communities. We've also taken environmental protection actions through other lenses. We've banned toxic substances. We've implemented and helped fund nutrient loss reduction strategies to protect our soil. We are initiating a drug take-back program to keep unused medications from leaking into our landfills and our waterways. We are protecting and prioritizing environmental justice communities from air pollution. We created a healthy food access program to bring healthier food options to food deserts. And we put guidelines into place to protect pollinators by restricting the use of certain mosquito insecticides. All this happened in just the past year. Think of what we can do moving ahead into the future. None of this work occurred in a vacuum. Much of this legislation came from ideas from constituents and environmental organizations. It's definitely a group effort getting these bills past the finish line. I am optimistic about our environmental future, and that as individuals, we can be innovative, thoughtful, and part of the solution. If we empower ourselves with knowledge and action, we can do our part to make the changes necessary to improve the health of Mother Earth and help curb our anxieties. Part of the solution is taking matters into our own hands, doing what we can to feel what we are making, and we are making good progress. This ownership will provide us with a sense of control in our collective future and serve to improve our mental health. So what can you do to empower yourself? While we continue to attempt to address the root causes of climate change, I believe that reduction in all of your personal carbon footprint makes an impact. We saw great examples of that just outside in the lobby prior to coming in here tonight. Even small things like recycling, using a reusable water bottle, changing your lights to LEDs, using electric leaf blowers instead of gas-powered leaf blowers, and composting collectively go a long, long way. Small steps can be empowering to help any anxiety or overcoming any feelings of helplessness. Making these actions the norm will also encourage others to follow your lead. If you want to get involved in like-minded groups, you can join groups in your community, like the Go Green groups, which were also featured in the lobby tonight. They are a great resource of information and a great way to get involved in local issues affecting our environment. These are ways to make positive changes close to home. For statewide issues, join the Sierra Club or the Illinois Environmental Council in their advocacy efforts. These groups not only educate the public, but they also organize yearly legislative agendas and lobbying days. Not to mention, they're great people to get to know. Additionally, you can also call your local, state, or federal legislators to advocate for solutions that will contribute to solving our climate crisis. All of these actions are empowering. They are all part of the solution and a great way to ease some of our eco-anxiety. Aside from what we are accomplishing on the state level and what you can do on the local level, I want to highlight some of the fascinating technological innovations that are happening worldwide to help protect our environment. When my kids were younger, someone once said to me that the careers that they will pursue have not yet been invented. Fast forward a mere decade, and that statement was spot on. Our youngest son, Jacob, is pursuing his PhD in mechanical engineering. His specific focus is on harvesting blue energy from ocean currents to power our world. This was not something that was even on our radar screen 10 years ago. Scientists at the University of California in Davis have created specially designed panels that could help solve the current problems with solar energy. These panels generate power once the sun has gone down. This innovation is known as anti-solar cells, and it harvests electricity from the night sky. Wind and solar power growth are on track to meet climate targets. Globally, solar generation rose 23% in 2021, and wind supply gained 14%. Together, both renewable resources accounted for 10.3% of total global electricity. With the largest percentage of forest land in Europe, Sweden is looking at new ways to incorporate trees into its architecture. A wooden skyscraper has been constructed that is capable of sequestering nearly 10,000 tons of carbon dioxide throughout its lifetime. In other words, this wooden skyscraper captures as much carbon as 10,000 forests. Groundbreaking new legislation in Panama has granted nature the, quote, right to exist, persist, and regenerate its life cycles, unquote. It means that Parliament will now have to consider the impact of its laws and policies on the environment. Colombia, New Zealand, Chile, and Mexico have also given nature legal protection, either through their constitutions or through their court system. A billionaire in Australia is trying to buy 3 of the country's coal power plants. He plans to shut them down for good and replace them with renewable energy. And listen to this. In what the UN Environment Agency has called the most environmental deal since the Paris Accord, government officials have agreed to create the first global plastic pollution treaty. The details have not yet been finalized, but a binding pact should be finalized by the year 2024. All these actions are beneficial to humans and to our Earth. By keeping our air fresh and our environment clean, research shows this will also protect our mental and our physical health. A study points to 6 benefits of getting fresh air on improving your well-being. Number 1, fresh air is good for your digestive system. Fresh air increases the flow of oxygen, helping you digest food more effectively. This is particularly important for those of us who are trying to shed those pandemic pounds. Fresh air helps improve blood pressure and heart rate. Fresh air makes you happier. The more fresh air you get, the more oxygen you will breathe, which will increase your amount of serotonin, which is your happy hormone. Fresh air strengthens your immune system. By increasing the amount of fresh air you get, you'll increase the amount of oxygen, which helps your white blood cells function properly by fighting and killing bacteria and germs. Fresh air cleans your lungs, and fresh air gives you more energy and a sharper mind. You may have noticed that after spending time outside, you come back indoors feeling renewed. More oxygen results in greater brain functioning, improving your concentration skills, and providing you with more energy. As we celebrate Earth Day, let's focus on the positive impact we can have on our climate, and in return, the positive results we see both personally and globally. Working together, we can change our habits, improve our physical health, reduce our anxiety, and change our laws to protect our Mother Earth. It's as easy as a walk in the park. Happy Earth Day, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.
Laura, fine. Well, if that didn't inspire you, I don't know what will. We may be moved to do things because we feel anxious about it, and that doing something can help to alleviate anxiety, but also being inspired by what is already happening and feeling like you can join with a team to make real positive change in the world is also incredibly inspiring. So thank you for everything that you're doing on the state level and nationally and internationally. Just want to again call attention to our environmental group here, our Diana Circle. If everyone can be who is part of the leadership of that, stand up. You are all out there in the foyer so people can see you and acknowledge your presence and all the amazing work that you're doing. These are the people who are leading our environmental effort here at Beth Emmet. Make sure if you didn't see them before services, you stop over afterwards. They'll be there for a few moments. And as Rabbi Memes Foler said at the beginning of the service, there's going to be a cleanup in the Skokie Channel. Susan Leftwich has all the information. It's all on a card out there. She's there. So when you go outside, make sure you pick that up. We also, of course, have information on our website as well. But we hope to see people there on Sunday. And not just that, but to continue our work together. I think this is a great inspiration for the continued work that we will be doing together. Eli, did you stand up? Stand up. You're a very important part of this Diana Circle as well. I'm going to pick on you.